Alright, so specifically, I'm going to split this video up into two sections. So one will be the actual concepts and terms that come along with it, like that cathodes and anodes. And two is actually going to be how you're going to be able to make the machine itself, the water electrolysis machine. I'm going to show you how to set it up and my own model. Now, if you're probably only here for really two reasons. One, because you actually want to know the concepts, and two, because you just want to make a bomb. But I don't really care what you do with it later on, and I'm just here really to give you the information. I don't really care what you do with it as long as you don't hold me legally liable. So it's all good. Let's get right into the video. Alright, so now that you're here, I'm guessing you're the smart ones and you don't just jump to the conclusion, so I like you guys. But basically, I'm going to go over the basic setup, the really basic level. If you really want to know the in-depth stuff, probably check out another video. But I'm just going to talk about how the lab setup usually works. So usually in most water electrolysis setups, they consist of an electrolyte, two electrodes, and a power source. So this electrolyte is usually something that's able to speed up the process. Something like salt, which is the thing that I sometimes use. I don't really use it because sometimes it creates something more deadly. I'll show you guys later for it. But you can also use other substances for the electrolyte. So for the two electrodes are going to be basically the two cathodes and the anodes. These are going to be things that conduct electricity through them, allowing the splitting to really occur. And then the power source, basically just a battery, for example, with two wires attached to it. Really simple. So now let's go into the actual talking about the cathode and the anode. So the cathode is going to be where reduction happens, and anode is where oxidation happens. There's a lot of good, mnemonics for it. So sometimes I think of red cat because reduction cat, and then ox and then un, so unox, anode oxidation. Really, those are just some good things to remember. And then the cathode is going to be the giver, anode is going to be the taker. So now really think of them as batteries. So at the cathode, it's going to be a negative charge, anode is going to be the positive charge. So now I'm going to go into the actual setup of like the entire lab thing. Alright, so now you're here for the actually fun part. After you're watching my whole spiel or just skipping over it, here you're gonna actually learn how to make a hydrogen bomb with this setup right here. This one right here. Alright, so here's gonna be my setup here, and I'm gonna be using gloves here because I do not want to touch the setup. I've literally had this in my garage for I don't even know, some months, and the nails have literally rusted. So I'm just gonna be showing you really my own setup, and you can basically just recreate it yourself. So look at that. Oh, look at that rust. So basically, now remembering what I said, basically, what you're gonna want to have smells, man. You're gonna want to have one takeout cup right here. You're gonna have a takeout cup and grab two nails. You want these nails to actually be fresh, okay? Do not use the rusty nails. Use two nails, two fresh nails. And basically, you're just gonna push them into the cup right here. So using a takeaway container, push it through the cup. Push it all the way through the cup. And here is going to act as your two electrodes, which is what I talked about. If you didn't see that, go watch my part, okay? These are the two electrodes that you're going to be using right here. All right? And here, you see where it begins to rust? This is going to be the part where oxygen forms. So if you didn't know, I'm going to be showing you right here. Fe, iron, because my nails are iron, it's going to be reacting with the oxygen. And what do we know? It rusts. That is why we have the rust on one nail and no rust on the second nail. And that's why I want you to be careful of it. If you don't want rust on any of your nails, you're going to want to use a different type of electrode. You're probably going to want to use some type of battery-based one or maybe lead or something. I don't really know. But there's a bunch of ones online, but nails are definitely the easiest ones to use. So immediately, you're going to want to do these two through the container. This is going to act as your electrodes, like that. And then you're going to want to have one charging cord. So here, this is how I used my own, this is how I got my own electricity without using batteries. Technically, if you actually had a battery and you could attach it to these two, then it's fine. As long as you have a cathode and an anode, basically a negative and a positive side. All right. And basically, through this wire, it was an old charging cable. So through this wire, I basically just plug this into a wall outlet. And then it begins to shoot out electrons or electricity through these two right here. Do you see this? Red and black wires. Now, I honestly forgot which ones are red and black, which ones are negative or positive. I'll show it up on the screen right now. But once you figure that out, you're just gonna wanna see, look at this. You're just gonna use these two parts, wrap it around each side. Like so. So wrap it around, and it's kind of hard. You're gonna wanna wrap it around, make sure you have enough of this copper siding. So notice how it's copper right here? You wanna push this through. You wanna have this attached to each side, like this. See how it's rounded around? See, oop. So see how it's gonna be touching the two iron parts? It's gonna be touching the two iron parts. That is how the electricity is gonna pass through these two nails right here. All right, that's exactly how it's gonna do it. And then once you plug it in, the electricity is gonna conduct through these two electrodes, aka the nails, and it's gonna form hydrogen gas and oxygen. But the oxygen here is gonna react with the nail, so that's probably not good. If you want oxygen, then you're gonna have to use something else that doesn't rust or react with the oxygen. So hydrogen is gonna come off on the clean one, and the rusty one is gonna be the oxygen. And then over here, this was old. I don't really have any left, but basically I used some form of baking soda in order to basically fasten up the reaction, aka it's an electrolyte. It's gonna basically catalyze the reaction at hand. But do not, repeat, do not use salt. NaCl, salt. Do not use salt. Salt works as an electrolyte here, but it results in the creation of chlorine gas as a byproduct. Please do not use salt. And if you have already done it, I don't know how you're watching this video. Please do not make chlorine gas in your garage or backyard. I don't know where you're making this. But that's basically how you're gonna do it. So then you're just gonna prop it up. Here's my setup. I have 2 bricks right here, 2 bricks. I then place it in between these two. See how it's like kind of levitating right here? And then I use my wire. The 2 copper strands. You see that? You're gonna want to touch those. You want to first attach them to this side, right? I'll show it to you guys. So you're just gonna wrap it around once. See how it's wrapped around? Then I just use some old clippers right here. You can probably use alligator clips, but I do just use clippers. You can use clips right here. Now you're just gonna clip it around this thing. Clip it so that the thing is just hold there. See? Notice how now the copper wire is just stuck on there, stuck on the wire. You can do that the same thing with the black one. Yes, then it's gonna place it on top like this, plug it up, and then it's gonna begin doing the electrolysis. You just want to put water in here, some of your baking soda. Do not use water, please. Do not use salt, please. Put it in here, put all the water in here, and it's gonna begin the electrolysis components of it. And if you actually want to, if you do want to harvest it, you're going to want to have some type of container or maybe like a test tube above it. I just use, oh, look at that. Look at that rust on there. But basically, I just use a test tube, an old test tube that I got from a kiddie experiment right there. I basically just place it over here. I place it over and use water. I use gas displacement in order to collect it. If you don't know it, please watch another video online. There's a bunch of them online. But basically, all you're going to want to do is fill up this test tube right here. Fill it all the way to the brim right here. And then you're going to want to cap the top. Flip it over in the water. Flip it over in the water. Remove your hand. Put it in the water. And basically, as the hydrogen gas goes through, it's going to begin bubbling, right? It's going to become gas. It's going to travel up. It's going to travel up to the top of here, right? Because hydrogen gas floats because of how light it is. It's going to float up. And instead, it's going to push out the water as the more gas accumulates, right? So basically, let's say we have a bunch of hydrogen gas in here. We have water in here. Of course, the hydrogen gas is going to push out the water. It's going to begin collecting said hydrogen gas at the very top. And that's how you do it right then and there. All right, just like that, you should be able to make your own hydrogen as the water begins electrolyzing. Basically, it's going to take a little bit. It's probably going to take around maybe 1 or 2 hours in order to actually get a poppable amount. Basically, if you really wanted to pop it, I'm going to suggest for you to take the tube right here. Oh, I'm touching with my hands. But basically, I just want to take the tube right here, pour out all the water, grab a match, and you're just going to pop it right above. I'm going to show a video of me popping right here. And basically, as you put the lighter close to it, it's going to shoot out fire. So please make sure that you're pointing this away from yourself. Grab the match, pop it just like that. It's going to shoot out. It's a really cool experiment. I really do suggest you guys trying this part. Alright, and just like that, you know all the steps of water electrolysis, how to make it. A little bit about the anodes and cathodes. I didn't really go in depth about it, but hopefully you get the gist of it. I really like to explain this to you guys. This is really my first video, so it's gonna be kind of choppy. But I had a bunch of fun making it. Hopefully I continue in the future. And if you guys want to see anything more, you just want to type in the comments and say what you want me to do. I'll do it for you. Now, I just want to thank everyone back at the studio, all the actors and people who made this become possible. Thank you to everyone. Please give them a shout out on the side here. Roll the credits. And I just want to say thank you to everyone, and I'll see you in the next one. See you guys.